All right, guys, welcome back. You know, we're on an epic journey here. That's what it sounds like, at least. I don't know. How are y'all doing? We're having a good time. All right, so today I want to talk to you a little bit. I want to talk to you about, it's like three things. These three things, right? These are the only things I want. No, I got a lot to talk about, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we kind of get right into it because I don't want there to be any lag or anything like that. So today we're doing something. I'm not going to say it's a little different. It's very much related to whiskey, but we're not talking about the actual amber colored liquid in the glass. We're talking about the whiskey community. We're talking about the love for whiskey and the people around it. And we're talking about some other things. So, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get too much into it. Okay, so I keep having to turn the dang music down because, it's hard for me to think. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to think. So, I am recording this Friday, the 11th, 10th, I don't know, of November already. Crap, we're already into November. So tomorrow we have a big family gathering, Thanksgiving type thing, for people that want to be around their family for Thanksgiving. We do it every year. It's a big deal. My wife's grandfather used to do it back when he was still alive, and we kind of took over the tradition for him. So the people are coming to our house. I'm gonna fry a turkey. I'm gonna actually smoke a turkey breast on the grill. Anyway, it's gonna be a lot of fun, a lot of family, a lot of fellowship, good times. This one obviously is a little bit different. If you've been following this podcast for a minute, you know why it's a little different. And we're gonna get into that. So yeah, it's been a little crazy with all that stuff. I actually start treatment on Monday the 13th. So that's kind of, I'm not going to say not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it, but I just want to get it over with, bro. At this point, I'm done. I'm done with this. Went to the doctor and he said, probably best that you don't work, which sucks. So I kind of had already came to that conclusion a little bit because I can't really do anything, I do the smallest thing and I get wore out. Not so much because of one particular thing. It's just when I had the issue that we talked about in the past episodes, it put a lot of stress on my heart and on my lungs. And so it's really probably best for me to just let them heal as best I can. Something really cool that happened, though. Let me talk to you about this. And then we'll get into the other really cool thing that happened. And then the other, there's a slew of them. That's why. So this is the type of podcast that you will grab you a drink and enjoy the journey. You know what I mean? We're not going to talk process. We're not going to talk any of that, but it is a process. So let's get into it. So last Saturday, it doesn't matter timing. That doesn't matter. I went and did a tasting, whiskey tasting. For some people. They contacted me on Instagram and said, hey, I'd love to have you come out and do a tasting for us. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's do it before I start chemo because it might be a little sketchy after that. And so it was some people that I know. I'm in a chat group with a couple of them. And there was quite a few other people. And I don't know if you remember, though it's been probably a couple months ago now, I was on the podcast Pardon My American, and which is now the Last Americans podcast, because anyway, shadow banning is real. I said that before too. So they were, I went on there and did a whiskey tasting for them. Go back and try and find that episode. I'll maybe link it in the description or something. Anyway, it's people that are kind of their fans, right? And so that was cool. And so I kind of know them, kind of don't know them. I don't know if she wants me to shout her out on here. Sorry. I didn't ask beforehand, so I'm not going to. That goes for anybody who is gracious enough to give me gifts or love or anything like that. I'm not going to put you on blast unless you want to be. So that being said, it was in Austin, which, okay, it's a little far out of my service area for tastings, but I hadn't done one in a while and I needed to get out of the house. It was that type of thing. So I procured, they wanted to do a bourbon tasting. So that was cool. So I was like, all right. And this, I'm going to try not to make this long because I have other things to talk about, but this is part of the journey, right? This is the fellowship and that. And I'm going to try my dangest not to get emotional, but I'm not going to be guaranteeing anything. There's a lot of emotions right now, and I'm going to let them rip, Tater Chip, if they have to. I need a drink of water. Hold on. It's too early for anything else. It's 12 o'clock or something. I'm not a lush, Lord. That's high quality H2O. Anyway, so we are, sorry, I'm doing 5 things at once. We are, so I went to Austin, and they wanted to do a bourbon lineup, and so I didn't want to do your basic bourbons, you know what I mean? I wanted to do something a little different, so I did this is what the different types of bourbon, right? Different types. One wasn't a bourbon, but anyway, we'll leave that where it is. I did the Still Austin Musician because I just love the flavor of it, and it's a Texas whiskey, so that makes it even better. Then I did the Russell's Reserve 10-year because it's an age-stated bourbon, and it is wild turkey. It's amazing juice, and it's only 45%, so it's not going to blow their head off or anything. So that was my thing. I was trying to make something a little lighter, a little fresher. I'm not throwing cast-strength whiskeys at them the whole time, and that's something you need to think of if you're planning to do a tasting, and these people don't know whiskey or they don't know much about it. Don't burn their head off with it. You know what I mean? Don't pick just take my advice, and you'll know my advice is valid here in about hopefully 10 minutes if I can get through this dang story. But that's what whiskey's about, is the story, the journey. Peace be the journey. Anyway, this might be a ranter. I'm sorry, guys. I'm full of a lot of it right now. So anyway. So then I picked Wilderness Trail, which is a newer distillery out of Kentucky, but they're bottled in bond, which we've talked about bottled in bond before. It's a 4-year-old bourbon, but it's wheated, so they don't have any rye, right? They don't have any rye, whereas the Russell's is a higher rye content. And that was what I was trying to showcase, right? I was trying to showcase Texas bourbon, obviously, and then a high rye bourbon, a high wheat bourbon, and then the next one I did, was I can't say it right, Davines County whiskey, Kentucky whiskey, finished in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. Okay, so a wine finished, and I wanted them to kind of get the feeling of what the wine brings to the whiskey. I don't remember if I think it's rye. It has rye in it, not wheat. So that doesn't matter. It's wine finished, right? Well, then I also procured a rye whiskey. Just wanted to see, this is the flavor of the rye. Now, it was a Michter's rye. If you know Michter's, I looked it up a little bit, and they really couldn't tell me. There's Blake braying away at me because he can hear me in the shed. I looked online a little bit for the Michter's, and it doesn't really say a whole lot about their mash bill because they're sourcing some stuff, they're using some of their stuff. Anyway, it's a great whiskey. It was a single barrel, so it was a little special, but the proof on it was only 43% or 42.8 or something like that. They do weird proofs. So it was real nice, and it wasn't super heavy on the rye spice or anything. So I'm thinking it's probably a 51% rye or something, what we call a barely legal rye, right? So I feel like it fit in the category. Well, then also I was like, I want to do something a little bit allocated because they didn't, they wanted to do a basic pours, Not getting too fancy, with it, but I brought the E.H. Taylor small batch. Now, for me, and this is my personal opinion, obviously, E.H. Taylor to me is quintessential bourbon, right? I enjoy Wild Turkey better, but E.H. Taylor is like, this is what bourbon's supposed to be, right? It's smooth. I hate to say, okay, don't say smooth. No, it's sweet. It's caramel, vanilla. It has a little chocolate note in it. Has a nice barrel tannin. Has a nice age. It's bottled in bond. It's all of those things that you want in a bourbon. The issue is it's allocated, so finding it is very difficult, right? Some people can find it all day long, no big deal. It should be anywhere between $35 and $40 is what the bottle should be. Secondary market, you're looking at over $100. Yeah, it sucks. So I brought that as kind of like the finish out, right? Well, I get there. They're great people. Meet all of them. I'm not going to blast any of them. They brought some of their friends over, which was really cool. And they, the lady of the house, she made a spread like any other spread I have seen. There was full let's say that again. Charcuterie board. There was meats and cheeses and dips and chips and pretzels and this and that and really cool. Ice, water, all the things that you need for a whiskey tasting. And I was like, why can't other people do this? And when I told my wife about it, she goes, because she's a woman. And women think about that thing. All the other ones I've really done have been with men. And it's like, hey, we got some Slim Jims in the back. You want one? Like stuff like that. Anyway, so it was really cool. Well, then the lady who contacted me basically surprised me, which I don't want to be surprised. I don't like surprises, but she surprised me and Dave from Pardon My American and Last Americans podcast, who I've developed a friendship with. Like we text and talk, and he's into heavy metal music. I am too. We were planning on going to a concert together, things like that. So like I feel like, we're getting there. He showed up. He lives in Houston now. That's why, I haven't done another podcast or anything with him, because they moved to Houston. And it's not that far away from me, but it's far enough to where, like, dude, it'd be one of those I'd drive down there, have to spend the night type things, because I'm not driving back. But Austin is closer to Houston than my house. So they made the drive, him and his wife, which was amazing. Like, it filled my heart so much. And that's another thing. And this ties in to the topic of the podcast. So this is not like a housekeeping anymore. It was really, it filled my heart. Because, he didn't have to come. There, he could have been like, no, I don't really want to. He's getting into whiskey. I can feel like, because he's asking a lot more questions and stuff. So that was really cool. And then we started the tasting. I got through the tasting. Everything was fine. Everybody loved it. They were all, this is amazing. The owner of the house that we were at, he before that, he was like, hey, you want to see something? I was like, oh yeah, whatever. He goes, I picked up a whiskey. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know, like how into whiskey he was. It was a Old Fitzgerald. Yeah, like a really super allocated whiskey that I've tried a couple times, but like never got a bottle. Yeah, and I was like, oh, so like all the bottles I have for you are gonna be crap compared to compared to this. They're good bottles. Don't get me wrong, they're good bottles. Most people ended up liking the rye, which I was a little bit like, okay, cool. I guess because of the spiciness, and it's getting more into fall and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, this would be great in a cocktail. Yes, it is great in a cocktail, by the way. Anyway, so then we were just hanging out. No, it didn't. Did I turn it down too much? I don't understand what's going on. Huh. It's very strange. Oh, there it is. Anyway, so I just like to have a little ambiance of music. I'm sorry, guys. So we did the tasting. Everything was fine. And, we're all just BS and talking and stuff like that. And they were like, hey, come over here to the TV. I'm like, I don't want to watch TV. Like, I need to get ready to go. I still got a couple hour drive back to the house. And they actually, and this really hit me. You know what I mean? This really hit me because it they had some of the listeners to the Last Americans podcast. They all did a YouTube thing, and they all videoed themselves. This is where it's gonna. They all videoed themselves saying that they're praying for me, and they're thinking about me and stuff like that. And I don't know these people, like I don't know them at all. And sorry, I'm trying to keep it together. It was so, I can't even explain. Like, I know people, like, that people love you and are praying for you and stuff like that. But like when they say it on a camera or something like that, it does make a difference. And these are people that, like I said, I barely know. Like, I feel like I know them because I talk to them weekly, daily sometimes. We have a Facebook, not a Facebook, an Instagram and a Telegram. Is that what it is? Telegram. Anyway, and like, when the podcast is going, they do a live stream, and we'll sit there and BS on the live stream as well. So, it's like I know them, but I don't know them, right? And I got to meet the couple of that I'm not shouting out because I don't know if they want me to, but I got to meet them, and it was amazing. Like meeting the people, putting a person to the face. You know what I mean? So it was super amazing, and they were, basically saying I'm gonna kick its ass and stuff like that. And they had a card, and it was amazing. Like and then Dave did a podcast, that Monday, and he was like, I don't know how he felt about it or whatever. And I'm like, bro, I was literally in tears. Could you not see it? I know I'm a hairy dude, but like, could you not see that I was like literally could barely stand there because I was fixing to fall over from crying. It was just really sweet. It was really sweet that the community that doesn't need to do that for me did that for me. And it really filled my heart. It really did. And so that plus what I'm fixing to talk about leads me into that kind of the topic. It'll be the topic, the whiskey community. The people of whiskey lovers or non-whiskey lovers. Screw it. It doesn't matter. The people, you being a whiskey person and they love you. Like my wife, she does not like whiskey. Believe me, I've tried multiple times. Baby, here, try this. You'll like it, I promise. Something really nice and good, like a good Japanese whiskey that's really floral and fruity. And she's like, oh God, it tastes like rubbing alcohol. That's all she says, And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. So, people that aren't even in the whiskey community coming out and, showing support for you. And that's really, really cool. So that leads me into what happened this week. So, as you guys know, I am a whiskey sommelier, which on paper doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, it means a lot. It means a whole lot. But there's a lot of other, what do you call it? A lot of other factions of people in the whiskey industry that don't honor it. I don't know why, but they don't honor it. Because there's a couple of different accreditations that you can get, like Whiskey Steward. You can have a WSET, which means you're like a taster. You do like judging for panel stuff like that, because you always see like these whiskeys on the shelf that, we won double gold in Seattle or whatever. Like, that's a big deal, but at the same time, it's just one person's opinion, right? Or maybe a group of people's opinion. So anyway, for our program, and I'm gonna have the chancellor of the program on the podcast soon, I hope. Everybody's soon. There's a lot up in the air right now, and I'm trying to get people lined up, and I'm trying to get things going. But it is what it is. Well, anyway, so being a sommelier, I know whiskey, I know about whiskey, and I know about whiskey community, and like marketing yourself with the whiskey. Does that make sense? Like presenting and talking. And that's why this podcast is great for me, because it helps me to get out of my own way, because I'm an introverted person. I'm not, I don't really like talking. I don't like being in crowds. I don't like any of that stuff. So at the same time, I'm like, that's the best thing for me, because if I want whiskey to be a career, you got to be able to talk about the whiskey. You got to be able to market yourself for the whiskey. Being a brand ambassador or whatever, you have to stand up in front of people and present the whiskey. It is what it is. Doing a whiskey tasting for people, you got to know your crap. You better know, because some of them will call you out. They'll do it. So I this week went to Whiskey Somm 3 class. So Somm 3 is the third iteration of the Somm class. So it was mainly over Scotch and Irish whiskey, which, is near and dear to my heart. I love bourbon. Love it. I'm a whiskey connoisseur. I love all whiskey, but Scotch is mysterious, and it's almost unyielding in its palate. You know what I mean? It's you find some Scotches that fight back. They fight you, and you have to tame them, which is really cool. It's really cool. Like, whereas bourbon is more sweet. There's some bourbons that'll kick your butt too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on bourbon. I see you, Stag. But at the same time, it's like I feel like the shelf on my wall that's like screwed to my. I'm sorry, I'm ranting on something else. But like, I have this shelf that has like glass shelves on it. Yeah, I don't know why that's in my shed. My shed does not need glass in it at all. I am a bull in a china closet, and I will break everything. Why is this in here? Anyway, we might need to rehash that. Anyway, sorry. I just see like it's kind of like tilting away from the wall. It's scaring the crap out of me. Anyway, moving on. It doesn't have whiskey. It just has like little sample bottles that I've got, or I've poured out of, bottles on it, and then a bunch of empties, because, I'm a dork and I save the empty bottles because I think it looks cool. I don't know, whatever. So, Whiskey Somm 3, and I'm not going to explain the Somm class or anything like that. I'm going to leave it for if I can get Daniel on, and we'll talk about that then, because it's an interesting class. It's very educational. Good Lord. We spent 2 days going over history, science, methodology, law, and then tasting whiskeys at the same time. I think we went through, and this is in 2 days, I think we went through 9 trio tastings. So that's 27 whiskeys. Now here's the deal. Obviously, you drink 27 whiskeys, you are hammered. So they are literally, I can't even tell you, not even a half-ounce pour. It is enough to get a taste of it, and then you taste it, you write down your tasting notes, right? And then what me and some of the other Somms do, because at this point, we're all Somms, right? At level 3, you have to be a level 2 before you can go to level 3, right? That's kind of dumb, right? You can't go jump into level 3 right away. But like, we like to do like bottle guesses. So like, oh man, I think this is Connemara, or oh man, this has to be, Glenfiddich or something like that. So I was sitting next to a guy. Again, I need to talk to these people if I can talk about them on the podcast. I'm sorry. I was sitting next to a guy, and he's again, I'm going to say he's turning into a friend. We've talked on, online and shit for a little bit, and he's a really cool guy. And I'm talking to him, and we're doing bottle guesses. We're like, dude, I think that's this, or that definitely has the taste of this. Because once you, and that's another thing we can talk about briefly, because I still have ways to go. When you're tasting, like I tell you to buy a bottle, whatever bottle it is, and sit with it, and like drink on it for weeks, months, whatever. Try samples of it and try and pick out the notes, and then maybe get a bottle similar to it. Like, let's say this. I don't care for it, but a Glenfiddich 12, right? It's just a basic Scotch, but you can find it in any bar, or Glenlivet or something like that. Find one of those, sit with it, finish the bottle. Not all in one night, please. Finish the bottle, and then and if you want to get super nerdy, you can write tasting notes or what you're tasting on it, and see if it changes throughout the bottle. I do that sometimes. I'm going to tell you the truth right now, and this is a shaman truth. Okay, ready? I don't do that. I just mentally go in my head and I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to, okay, so this has some caramel, this has some vanilla, this has a really weird, because a lot of scotches have a malt funk. It's a funk that they have. I don't know exactly, what that means by the definition. They have a malt funk. The grain is very present in it because it's a single malt, right? It's only made with barley. So that funk in itself can sometimes come across as like baby sick, which I know sounds gross, but like it's not like baby throw up, right? It's not like, it's not that. It's not. Anyway, it's not that. It's like the spit up, right? Where it's a little like funky, one that if you want to taste that baby sick funk, I know most people don't want to taste that, but if you do, get a pour of monkey shoulder. That's a blended scotch. We've talked about blended scotches. We're going to do a whole segment on scotch, just some terms and dates and stuff like that soon. I've got to get through a couple of other places first, so I have nothing but content for you guys, so don't miss a thing. So we like to do bottle guesses. So sit with a bottle, you'll start getting notes of it. Like one of the markers for Japanese whiskey, it makes it difficult because Japanese whiskey can be different. It is different. Is I get like an ashy on some of them, not all of them. I get like an ashy like cigarette, like when you put a cigarette out in an ashtray, and then that ashtray fills up with water, and then you kind of smell that ashy, but like it's cigarette ash, specifically cigarette ash. I get that in a lot of Japanese whiskey. It's very subtle. It's very light. It's not off-putting. It sounds off-putting. A lot of these notes really sound off-putting, but they're not. Just especially when you get into scotch, because then you can get blue cheese and funky and baby sick and all that. It turns gross real fast. Anyway, so we're doing Psalm 3, and it's a lot. Like in my notebook, okay, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. As I've said, I cannot read very well. It's not because I'm illiterate. It's just I have severe ADHD. And so I start reading, I'm jumping all over the place, probably dyslexic as well. My son is dyslexic, I'm sure. I'm not saying it's hereditary, but I'm sure I have it because I jumble my letters and numbers. And anyway, I work through it. But when I do my notes, when I take notes, I'm left-handed and I'm a Polak. So, like, Lord, that's, that's... So... my notes, let's just say, are not the greatest. I write down the date, which sometimes I can't decipher my 6s from my 8s or, whatever. So I'm hoping I can get close. And then I write just words. It's like 1864, Scotch made 20. Like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, those are some of my notes. And I wrote, like, probably in the 2 days, probably 25 pages of notes, front and back. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's freaking intense, brother. Intense, or sister, whoever's listening. I don't discriminate here, or whatever you are. So, yeah. I mean, it is literally mind blowing. And you would think, oh, well, the whiskey must help. No, the whiskey makes it worse because then you get a taste of it and you're talking 8:30 in the morning. The first thing you do is drink a whiskey, which I've actually heard that drinking whiskey in the morning, your palate is better and you can taste things better. Just what I heard. I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny this. I can drink whiskey all day long, especially when it gets colder out. that warmth of the whiskey going down. It's pretty nice. Anyway, so we do the class the first day. Oh, when we're walking up to what they call the tower, there's a guy playing the bagpipes, like legit playing the bagpipes, which was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna do a photo dump on my Instagram and Facebook, probably this weekend sometime when families, when I'm not hanging out with family and stuff. It'll probably be Sunday night. Then it's my son's birthday is Sunday. Well, his birthday was Tuesday when I was gone. Of course, I'm like, sorry, son. I bought him an Xbox, the new one or whatever. That's what he wanted. He either wanted that. I said, you can either get that, or we can pay to have your kids go, your friends go to a escape room, and go to Mr. Getty's or whatever for lunch. I'm like, if we added that up, it's equivalent to what an Xbox is, and he's like, I want the Xbox. And I was like, all right, that's that's you. So anyway, so it's going to be a busy weekend. So it might end up being Monday when I'm sitting there getting my chemo treatment, photo dumping everybody or whatever. It's fine. Anyway, so the first day it was, and they provide lunch and dinner. And here's the thing, though, and I'm gonna get back to it, and I'm not gonna talk anymore about. And then once you graduate, you go to the whiskey vault, and you get to have any whiskey you want out of there. Yeah, any whiskey. They have like 2,500 different whiskeys in there. You know how hard it is after your first time of going to a vault like that? You know how hard it is to pick a whiskey? You're just walking around in awe, literally in awe, going, So I did pass. The thing they did not tell me, which is still to this day irking me, and I might text Daniel and be like, hey, bud, what was my numbers? Like, they don't tell you, like, oh, you made a 98 or you made a 47, right? Did they just pass me because they know I got the cancer? Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it. I did study. I felt really good on like 90% of it. So I'm going to say I made a 90. That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, super hard though. Like, it's not for the faint of heart, which I'm a little faint of heart. So it was excellent. I enjoyed it. Going to the vault, I ended up choosing, and I know this is going to blow your guys' mind. Spoiler alert. I ended up choosing a Canadian whiskey. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I didn't get no sticky bourbon. I did have a little sticky bourbon, not gonna lie, after. And I did have some scotchy scotch. I did, okay? But here's the deal. In total, and this is 100 legit, for the 2 days, well, I was there 3 days and then left on Thursday morning. In those 3 days, in total, that's talking, I got there Monday night. So Monday night, you just go to, they have a campus on site, and you stay in these rooms, and they have like a common area with the kitchen and stuff like that. And then everybody brings whiskey bottles. Weird shit that they have, fancy bottles. I mean, I'll tell you the story here in a second, but like, you just bring stuff and everybody hangs out. Most of the time, one or two of them from the other class that you were in or whatever. There was like 3 or 4 people there that I hadn't met before, which was really cool. One of them was a jeweler. Like, he finds rare jewels and puts them in there, and he has like lab grown jewels that he makes. That's super cool. The other, one of the instructors was retired. I heard CIA. I don't know. That creeped me out. Not creeped me out, but that made my butt pucker a little bit. But like, just super cool people, right? Bunch of cool people that love whiskey and that's when we're getting to the community part of it. I enjoyed that part. Now, I enjoyed the class and hanging out with the instructors, like Irene Tan. If you've never heard of Irene Tan, you need to look up Irene Tan. She is a wealth of knowledge in the whiskey community. She is the whiskey mentor. That's what her tagline is. She is doing some amazing stuff. She is one of the only people that is able to get a single barrel of Lafroig Scotch in the United States. Yeah, absolutely. I've never had it, never tried it. Customs is a pain in the ass, obviously. So, um, she's just a wealth of knowledge, and obviously Daniel, who's the chancellor or whatever, and then it was a couple other people. I'm not gonna name drop a bunch of people because I don't do that. That's not me. But Irene is a badass in the industry. You need to look her up. She's in Connecticut, I think, and she has a liquor store. And it's one of those liquor stores that like you can try whatever bottle. Like if you're really, and she has rare stuff and single barrels of, like she's got more single barrels than than you can even imagine that she has picked personally. She'll open a bottle and you can sit there and try it. You know what I mean? Like so that you know, hey, I love this bottle, or it was meh. You know what I mean? That's the kind of liquor store you need, where you can try something, be like, I love that, I want that bottle. Okay, cool. You know. Um. Anyway, moving on. The coolest part to me, um, besides we have to do a story and stuff like that. And they do a lot with like storytelling and a lot with like food pairing. That one was fun. We didn't actually do the food pairing, but we talked a lot about doing it the right way, and not being dumb when you do it. So anyway, was sitting down at the common area, just talking, BSing with people, talking about the whiskey, not talking about the whiskey. They were talking about watches. They were talking about all kinds of stuff. They were talking about everything you could think of. We try not to talk about religion or politics. That's just kind of like the key thing. We just really don't, because that there's a lot of opinions in that, and so you try not to talk about stuff like that because that opens doors that you don't want to get into an argument about stuff. So it was really fun, and the Somms and the instructors, some of the instructors were there. I mean, it's just amazing hearing from these wealths of knowledge in different areas and what they're doing with their whiskey careers so far. There's a couple that are doing like major tastings. One of them is a brand rep, which basically they go around and do tastings for people for this particular whiskey. Amazing stuff that these people are doing. And they were really encouraging to me and what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys. Like they're like, dude, keep doing that, keep doing the thing. And that's amazing, dude. It really is. Like the fact that these people that I don't know, again, these people that I don't know, that I'm developing relationships with, want to see you succeed. And that just makes me think there's way more good in the world that are rooting for you, and they're lifting you up. They're putting you on a pedestal that you don't want to be on and saying, you can do this. You are amazing. And whatever battle you're going through, we're all going through, right? We're all going through battles. Either it's relationship or it's job related, or it's financially. We all get through financial problems, right? I mean, good Lord, I haven't worked in 2 months almost. Anyway, I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy the amount that people will go to uplift you and to help you. And it shows what is it called? The care. I'm going to say care for lack of a better word. The care of the people and the community. Like I've said multiple times, whiskey is the catalyst for this. I enjoyed so much sharing a dram of whiskey with all of those people. Might have been a different whiskey. There was a lot of bottles. That'll be in the photo dump. I think, just the brand rep for Ironroot brought almost 20 bottles. Yeah. She took them with her, though. Very rude. No, I'm joking. But, they're releasing tomorrow. This is just a plug for Ironroot real fast, because I love Robert and what they're doing, what those guys are doing up there. Tomorrow, if you guys are in the area of Denison, Texas, swing by Ironroot and pick up. So tomorrow will be the 11th? Yeah, I think it's the 11th. Tomorrow the 11th, they are doing their anniversary party, and they're releasing a I think the tri blend of Harbinger that is finished in Amberana barrels. Yeah, we've talked about Amberana a little bit. It's spicy cinnamon toast crunch type thing. I have a side by side that I picked up from the Crowded Barrel, which is adjoining the Whiskey Academy, right? It's adjoining that, and I picked up a side by side. It's Barton 1792. Oh, it's not 1792. It's Barton. And then they finished it in Amberana, and they did 2 separate bottlings, so you can have the side by side and tell what the note differences are. Super cool. We might break into that tonight. Who knows? When the cousin comes, we might break into that. Anyway, moving on. Just the overwhelming sense of like they're nerds, right? And I don't mean that in a good way. No, I'm sorry. No, they are nerds for the whiskey, and they talk about things that I don't even know what they're talking about, and I think I'm a nerd, and I'm like, you guys are nerds, and some of them are actual nerds, and they lean into it, and it's fine. We had to do a blending exercise. That's coming to soon too, guys. Yeah, we're gonna talk blending. I finally nailed the person down that's going to help me with that, and we're going to do that real soon. Obviously, this is all contingent on therapy, but we did a blending exercise, and one of the groups, they blended you were with in sets of 2, and one of the groups was called the nerds. Whatever. Oh Lord, but they are good people, and they will do anything for you, and they have uplifted me and supported me. And I don't know if y'all know this, but I have challenge coins. Yeah, I've got some challenge coins. I don't have a whole lot anymore. I'm already running out, which is amazing. Took them to the whiskey thing, Whiskey 3, and I'm not a beggar. I'm not one of those people that does that. I'm not. Sorry about that. Somebody freaking called me in the middle of it. Lord, I try to put it on airplane mode, but then it won't. Anyway, it won't work. Anyway, I'm using my phone instead of the laptop because, I'm dumb, I guess. Anyway, I'm not a beggar. I'm not asking for a handout. But the people know I'm in not a hard time. It's a hard time financially, obviously. When I just gotta, and this is not to beg or to say anything. It will be taken care of eventually. I got the bill from the helicopter ride I had to take, right? 20-minute helicopter ride. I think it was $90,000. Yeah, and it was not on my will. Like, I didn't ask to do that, right? They just did it. So that sucks. So I am not I'm not trying to beg, but I brought some coins. I gave them to certain people, not of influence, but like the people that I wanted to have them. And then I brought them back to the common room, put them on the table, and said, "Hey, here's the thing." And I'm not trying to do the thing, but like, I'm short on cash, and these cost money, and so I would really love a donation if you could do it. And man, like, you don't understand the generosity of these people. It's amazing. It really is. And I value every one of you. And I'm not trying to get all sentimental and bullshit, because it's like, it is what it is, right? They were amazing, and they helped me. And I've not, between keeping one for myself, obviously, because I have to have one. So they have the little, well, I'm not going to tell you. You got to go to the Instagrams and the YouTubes and the Facebooks, and you're going to find it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But you know what a challenge coin is, right? It's a coin. Anyway, it started back in the day. This isn't about that. It doesn't matter. Look it up. Anyway, So we did that, and it was amazing. And like the guys and girls are just amazing people. I had an amazing time, and it was great. And that leads me into the whole whiskey community part of it. Because the community, without the community, the whiskey's dead. The whiskey is nothing without the people who enjoy it and the people that can tell the story about it. And I can tell you so many stories, and I will tell you so many stories about the fun or the scary time or the whatever with a glass of whiskey. You know what I mean? The story doesn't have anything to do with the whiskey. It doesn't have to, right? It's all about the journey that you're going on with that particular whiskey, right? And with the people around you that are drinking that whiskey with you. So let's get back. So we're sitting in, this is a story. So take a drink if you need to. I'm going to. Ready? Man, I tell you what, you find some good, clean, crisp water. And I'm not a big water fan. Okay, I wasn't a big water fan, right? I used to drink sodas all the time. Some people call them sodies. Some people call them pops. Whatever. Drink what you want. A carbonated, sugary beverage. Anyway, I used to drink those all the time. And then I realized, man, these are not good for you. It's a whole so much sugar, all this acid and stuff in your body. It's not good. Not that I'm a health guru or anything like that, but anyway, so the water at my house, we're on well, obviously. I'm a plumber by trade, so I kind of am like a water dude. It's super clean and crisp and tastes amazing. It's pretty hard, like the hardness of the water. It has a lot of minerality to it, which I love. The only thing is it clogs your pipes up, it clogs your shower head up for sure, but I don't know what it does to your body. We're looking at getting like a filter and stuff like that. Anyway, long story. A good glass of water is great if you're not having whiskey, right? So take a drink. Let's get into the story. So the jeweler, he's now named the jeweler because I'm not going to call him out, right? So the jeweler, he brought some whiskey. Everybody brought some whiskey. I even brought some whiskey. I'll tell you the whiskeys I brought real fast. I brought Lost Lantern. If you don't know Lost Lantern, I think I've talked about them. They're an independent bottler, so they take barrels of whiskey from somebody else. They don't normally do anything with them. They just kind of say, "Hey, Lost Lantern is coming out with." The one I picked up was a Cedar Ridge. They're out of Ohio. Jerm and I on our podcast, Jerm from Freedom Malts. Follow, like, subscribe. Anyway, we talked about Cedar Ridge, and we talked about Lost Lantern as well. They're doing some cool stuff, and the profile of the whiskey is great. It was a single malt, American single malt, finished in sherry casks. One other thing that we got to do that was super cool that I enjoyed, it was not great, but I enjoyed it, was we got to taste 4 different types of sherry. Now, I don't know if you know what sherry is. It's just a fortified wine, right? That's all it is. It's wine that they've added more neutral grain alcohol to, and it makes it shelf stable, right? It also has very distinct flavors. And there's Pedro Jimenez. You've heard me talk about PX finished or Oloroso. It normally comes from Spain, right? Oloroso. There's Palacatado. That one was super weird. Then there's Fino Sherry. No bueno. No, I didn't care for it. All of them were bitter. Like, I'm more of a port person, like where it's like sweet. It's like a sweet fortified wine. I'm more of a port person. Like, I'll drink a glass of port. Or what's the other one? Oh gosh. Oh, I totally forgot. Madeira. I'll drink Madeira all day long. It's super sweet though. Like, it's like candy. Like 20% candy. Anyway, like 20% alcohol candy. Sorry. Anyway, so we're at dinner the first night or the last night. I don't remember. Probably the first night, because I don't think he would do that the night of graduation. He brought 3 bottles. They were all the same whiskey. It was just, that's just what it was. You know what I mean? They were all the same whiskey, but they were from different years, or as you would call vintages, right? The issue, not the issue, it wasn't an issue. So one was from 2020. Okay. One was from 1970. Yeah, I know. Just wait, it gets better. One was from 1920. I'm not lying. 100-year-old bottle of whiskey. Now, the liquor inside it is not 100 years old. It is a blended scotch called White Horse. Look it up. They still make it to this day. I'm actually going to pick up a bottle just for nostalgia purposes, not the 100-year one. I'm not going to tell you how much he said he paid for it, but he bought it at an auction. I'll just say that. The bottle itself had a cork in it, but not a cork like normally on a whiskey bottle that you pull off. You had to like cork it out. You know what I mean? And then they poured lead over the top of it to seal it. Yeah, I know. I'm like, that sounds toxic. I don't know if I want to drink that, but I'm like, oh, shit, it doesn't matter. I'm fixing to do chemo. That's toxic as hell too. So just drink the 100-year-old whiskey and shut up. So I tried a very small amount of it. So back in the day, scotch, all used to be peated, all of it, because that's the only thing they had. They didn't have not steam, but like coal. They didn't have coal back then to heat up the grain when they malted it. So they used peat. So all of the grain was peated, right? So it was pretty peaty. Like not super peaty, but it was pretty peaty for a blended scotch. And so anyway, we've talked about blended scotch. It's fine. It was so cool though. Like it wasn't great. It was oxidized.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Uh-oh. iPad died. Yeah, I tried to charge it, and when you get these older iPads, it's like my son or daughter's old iPad. I'm just using it for music, When you get these older iPads, they just crap out on you real fast without charging them, Anyway, moving on. So yeah, it was not great, but it was an experience, you know what I mean? So I really enjoyed it. And to see the side by side, the flavor really hasn't changed that much in 100 years. It did get bought by another company. All companies get bought by other companies, which get bought by other companies, and then until there's a freaking monopoly of whiskey. That's the only thing that I learned. No, that's not the only thing I learned. I learned a lot, but that's how it is. Big Six comes in, buys everything, takes over the world. That's life, Anyway, the broker, I guess, that type of thing, shutting down distilleries all over the place, killing them on contact, burning their stills down. Horrible things. But again, that's another episode. I need a tagline other than keep your spirits up, but I need a tagline. But that's stupid. I don't know. No, but that was super cool to be able to try a whiskey that has been through a damn near 2 world wars. I don't know when World War I ended. It doesn't matter. But the amount of history that bottle has seen, obviously it's an inanimate object. It was lead. The glass was so heavy. Just the manufacturing of it was different. You know what I mean? The label was half scraped off. It was in somebody's basement or some shit. I don't know. But super cool. Super cool. And I'm so grateful that I got to try it, right? Because it's probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because I'm not going to be able to, unless I go back up to the vault. I think he put it in the vault or gave it to Daniel to sit on. But, yeah, it was pretty amazing. So that leads me to the whole concept of the whiskey community. And I've talked about the whiskey community a little bit, but Texas whiskey, for instance, which I'm in Texas, obviously we talk about Texas whiskey, but the community of people, when I graduated Somm 3, there was other people from around that showed up to congratulate and hang out with you. What? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Because they believe in a thing. They believe in the whiskey so much that they show up to support you believing in the whiskey. That doesn't happen in other things. That doesn't happen in other hobbies. You know what I mean? You don't play pickleball and, have other pickleball people show up to support you. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know. It's just super weird, right? Like that people want to support you through that. It's crazy. Anyway, but like the whiskey community in itself, like the people that I've already, in the short time I've been doing this, the friendships and the things that I have heard, seen, and done just in the length of this podcast. It is amazing the things that we've talked about and things like that. Like, and that's all because of the community. That's all because of, sorry, I gotta sit back a little bit. It's kind of hurting my neck. That's all because of the community. It's all because of the people in it that care so much about it, but they also care so much about you. And if you don't have a community like that, you do with me. Reach out to me. You know what to do. Reach out to me. So I'm going to stop real fast. No, I didn't stop. I'm just making stupid noises. I want to talk to you about our sponsor. Yeah, I know. We're going to keep talking about it. I don't care. If you don't like it, too bad. You know who it is. Bad Motivator Barrels. Yeah, Bad Motivator makes small barrels for craft distilleries, home distillers. I don't care what you do with it, really. You want to put water in it? It's a holding vessel. I don't care. It's cool as hell. They've got a bunch of barrels ready to ship right now. They're ramping up production for the holidays, so get in there and get you one. Use my affiliate link. It'll be in the description, obviously. And it helps us. You don't have to pay any more for it, right? You don't have to pay any more. You don't have to put any codes in. You don't have to do nothing. You just click the link. That's it. It's not a big deal. You're going to go there anyway, right? So why not click the link? It helps me out a little bit. Don't you want to help me out? Maybe you don't. If you don't, why are you listening? I do this for free, but still, why are you listening? But Chris over there, he is a saint. He is a wood warrior, a wood warlock. I don't know. He's not a warlock. I wouldn't call him a warlock. He's not like trying to kill people with his barrels or something. Now, although you fill up a barrel and throw it at somebody, that's going to hurt pretty bad. Just saying. Because they are stainless steel. They're 75% stainless steel. And then they have a wood head, what we call a head. The end of it is wood. You can get whatever kind of wood you want. You can get used oak. You can get new oak, new American oak. You can get Garyana oak, which Garyana is an Oregon oak. I've even heard of some chinkapin oak. I've heard of different types of woods. He's working on all kinds of stuff right now. So if you want a barrel, go pick one up. It helps us out a lot. It helps out. It shows him that you're supporting this podcast as well. And I thank you so much for the support. And I thank Chris for the sponsorship because he is a badass in the community. Not just whiskey, just everybody. The whole, God, I'm fixing to fall over. So anyway, click the link in the thing. Do the thing. You know what to do by now. Good Lord. I shouldn't have to tell you. I've only been talking about this for like 10 freaking podcasts. Bad Motivator Barrels. That's where you need to go. Anyway, back to the thing. And that's another thing. Chris, I'll talk. The ad is over, right? The ad's over. But Chris from Badmo is the type of person that I'm talking about. We've had a podcast together. We've shared whiskey together. He sends me barrels. Which he is the type of whiskey person that you want to hang out with. He's the type of person in general. He's very generous. He's very kind. He's very loving. But he's also a whiskey head, which is freaking awesome, right? It's like one of those things where you're like, oh, you're a cool dude too. Like, it'd be one thing, like, if he made the barrels and the barrels are cool, but he was a dick, right? You're like, oh, man, his barrels are awesome, but I can't even look at him. You know what I mean? But he's not. And that's what, okay, I'm not going to lie. There's people out there. I'm trying to get this mic. I'm trying to lean back. Well, maybe if I scooch up. There we go. I'm trying to lean back a little bit so my neck's not all. Anyway, there are people out there that are whiskey, like snobs or whatever you want to call it, and they're very like, well, the only whiskey to drink is Blanton's. That's all I drink is the Blantons. And I got it signed from the head distiller himself, and he let me pour it directly from the barrel. Now, granted, all of those things are cool as hell. Don't get me wrong. Like having a signed bottle from the master distiller, pulling it from the barrel yourself, that's all cool. Done that before. It's awesome. But I'm also saying, like, you know, the whole don't be a dick thing, right? It's a real thing. The whiskey doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, just be cool. So, the whiskey community that's out there right now is amazing. Texas whiskey, Kentucky. I haven't been to Kentucky. And the one thing that there's a number of things I learned from Somm class, but one of the things as well that I learned from Somm class was I need to get out more, bro. Like, I don't freaking do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many Texas distilleries that I haven't been to. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, you know, we just did the podcast with Yellow Rose, right? And I'm like, why haven't I been to your distillery? Yeah, it's a couple hours away. Why haven't I been there? You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. It's a day trip. Maybe a 2-day trip. I don't know. But, like, why does it matter? Yeah, I got a lot going on right now. And obviously right now is not the best time to do that. But at the same time, it's like, why not? Why not go and do? And then, like, they were obviously talking about Scotch and Ireland. I literally was in tears watching their little montage in the beginning of, like, all these different castles and, like, you know, the people and the distilleries and all the cool history and all that stuff. I'm not a huge history buff. Like, I don't care. I do care. Obviously, I care. But, like that doesn't interest me. It's more like what's in the glass and the story behind the glass, right? And the story behind the castle. Like, the history's cool, but the story. And that's kind of, I'm not going to change the way the podcast is. The podcast is going to be the same. We're going to have a lot of nerdy stuff coming up. So don't you worry, brother. We're going to have a bunch of nerdy stuff coming up, and we're going to get some cool stuff. And then the people that we're talking to are going to change and be different. It's not just going to be dudes from the distillery. You know what I mean? It's going to be other things whiskey related, and I'm excited for it. But like the storytelling that is done when you have a glass of whiskey or when you're talking about the whiskey, it is so cool. And that's the community, like building the relationship and having the ability to kind of put all that into perspective and paint a picture of the whiskey without even being there. That's what I want to do. I want to paint a picture. Like, I would love to sit down with and I've done this, you know, I've done this on the podcast when we were doing Japanese whiskey. I, you know, did the Hakushu. We sat there and drank it. We didn't. I did. It was great, by the way. You know, we sat there and drank it, walked through it, and I was telling you my true tasting notes as they were coming out. Now, that's a little nichey. I get it. Like, no, I don't want to do that all the time. But, like, it would be cool to, like, grab a bottle. And, like, right now I could tell you, hey, on the next podcast that we do like this, which will be in 2 weeks, right? Because that's normally how I try to do it. we're going to open up. I'm going to say one. It's not this one, so don't get this one. And we're not starting this yet. We might start it in December. I'm thinking maybe in December. Pick up a monkey shoulder, right? Pick up a monkey shoulder if you want to. You don't have to play along if you don't want to. And then we will sit there and I'll tell you a small story about the monkey shoulder. We might not even be talking about that particular whiskey, right? Just a little ad lib in the middle of it, just to be like, hey, do you have your monkey shoulder? Go get it. Let's have a dram together, and I'll tell you a story about it. I think that's cool. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Either Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Just let me know. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. Like having this little story behind it, and maybe sharing a whiskey together. Be like, hey, in 2 weeks we're gonna talk about wild turkey. So go get you a wild turkey and let's sit down and have a drink. Because it's all about community. And I feel like, it's not me, right? I'm not building this Whiskey Shaman community. I'm not. You guys are. You guys, the ones that are listening and going to listen, are telling your friends. And please, tell your friends. Tell all your friends. I want this thing to grow into a juggernaut. I do. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for the love of it, and because I have to talk about it, and especially now, I have nothing else to do. I literally have nothing else to do. I was in here cleaning out the shed this morning, like figuring out where everything goes and getting the turkey ready to fry tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's what I did all day so far. Anyway, so I think that's cool. I'm not changing trajectory on the podcast at all. Like, it's going to stay the same. We just might have new little segments or something like that. These are just things that I'm running through my head because it's all about the whiskey community. So, moving into the third part of this, I know it's getting a little long-winded, but it's okay. This part is called I'm Just Happy to Be Here. I'm just happy to be here, which I think we all should be, right? We should all just be happy to be here. By the grace of God, I woke up this morning, that type of thing. And if you don't believe in that, that's fine. I don't care, but you're here for a reason, right? You're here. You didn't die in your sleep. You didn't, you're here, right? So in the Somm class, again, talking about it because it's relevant, very relevant to what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about it this one time, and then when I do the podcast with Daniel, we're going to talk about it, and then we're not going to talk about it anymore. Okay, so you just have to bear with me. In the Somm class, the very first thing we do when everybody gathers into the classroom or whatever you want to call it, we go into the vault. Right, we go into the vault, which is adjacent to it. And we all stand around in a circle. They pour us a small glass of whiskey. Granted, it is 8:30 in the morning. And we state ourselves, who we are, and say something about ourselves. What we're doing with whiskey, right? Because by now, you're on your third iteration of being a sommelier. So you should be doing something with the whiskey, right? Something with it, whatever it is. History. There was one guy who wrote a book. Yeah, really cool. I'll reach out to him and see if we can talk about it on the next podcast, because it's really cool. It's about kind of like, remember when I did the podcast about So You Want to Do a Whiskey Tasting? It's similar to that, but in book form. So you have like notation of what you need to bring and what you need to do. It's really cool. It's a really short book. So anyway, I'll get with him and we'll see if we can talk about that. To see, and so we're all standing around in a circle, and everybody's saying who they are, what they're doing. Like, we got brand rep, we got this guy does tastings all the time. This guy is a mixologist for a bar in a distillery. This guy is doing this. This guy, everybody's doing something. There was a couple that were like, I just really enjoy whiskey and love learning about it. even that is cool, right? Even just that. He goes, I don't have time to do anything else other than be here and learn and love this. And I'm like, okay, cool. We still love you, bro. And then the instructors said their bit and stuff. And then it came to me, and I was the last one, basically, the last one. I don't know why. That's how it ended. And the only thing that I could say, because like I heard everybody's story by that time, the only thing that I could say was, I said, well, I'm Randall, also known as the Whiskey Shaman. And after almost dying a month ago, I'm just happy to be here. Which I am, right? I mean, shit. I'm just happy to be alive, let alone at the, doing whiskey stuff. It could have been a lot worse, brother. Could have been a lot worse. So that was kind of like okay, I am happy to be there. So we did the class. And then at the very end, during the graduation ceremony, they sing this song that they sing on every graduation. I've been through 3 of them now, so it's the same song. And it's a Scottish song. I can't tell you. Good night, sweetheart. It doesn't matter. The song doesn't matter. And we all stand in a circle again. Now with because anyway, we'll talk about the what you get from it. We're all graduated. We're all on this next level, this next phase in our whiskey journey, right? And we do the same thing. And it's more like, what did you get out of the 2 days, the 2.5 days, whatever that we were there? What did you get out of it? What is the one thing that stood out to you in all that? And it went around. Oh, and one of the guys, I don't know, man. People are so generous, right? One of the instructors bought a 25-year-old Klein leash, which, if you don't know Klein leash, it's a Scotch. It's a really good Scotch. Normally, you can find the 14 pretty easy. This was a 25-year-old single barrel cast strength. Like, you don't find it. I looked it up. It's pretty expensive, bro. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty expensive. I probably wouldn't buy it. Just saying. Pretty expensive. But he poured everybody a dram, and we all, one by one, saluted and cheersed and did the thing. And then it came to me, and I said, again, the thing that I got from these 2 days is the outreach of this whiskey community, and I'm just happy to be here. Just happy to be here. Because I don't know why that does that to me. I've had a couple outbreaks on this one. It's okay. A good cry. Hey, it is not unmanly or not demasculating or whatever to cry, to show emotion. Like we don't all have to be like our fathers or grandfathers that showed no emotion. You know the reason people die? You know why men have a higher suicide rate than anybody? Well, obviously anyway, because they don't talk about anything. They don't release emotion. They don't cry. They don't let it go, right? So I'm not afraid to cry on freaking recording. I don't care. I don't care if you judge me for it. Screw off. If you don't like it, go find another podcast. This is life, like the whiskey community has made that, and I felt it in my heart, and it was something that I needed at that time, and I still need. And it was really good. The timing sucked, but the timing was perfect at the same time, right? The timing, literally days before I'm going to start something that's going to, it's going to be a road, right? But at the same time, I got to do me for a minute. And my wife didn't have to worry about me. And, shit. Because she's really stressed out, dude. She is. She's like freaking out. And for a couple days, she was like, you're somebody else's problem, not mine. And the cool thing was, like, the whole time I was there, uh, Dave, Dave, he basically is like, whatever you need, bro, I got it for you. And, like, I would eat my lunch, and then it's catered lunch. It's really good. I'd eat my lunch and then go sit outside because I needed to put my leg up, right? Because I still have my blood clot in my leg. It's getting better, but it's still there, especially when I walk on it a lot. And they have stairs, because, like, the bathroom's on the first floor. So, like, I go up and down stairs. I could take the elevator. I know I could take they have an elevator. I just didn't take it. I need to walk, too. That's the thing. I need to walk, but it gets it sometimes. So I'd be sitting outside, and he's like, you okay? Do you need anything? Like, everybody's, like, freaking out that, like, something's going wrong. I'm like, no, I'm fine. Just, lifting my leg up a little bit. And then in the vault, obviously there's a couch, but, like, there's no, like, place to prop your leg up, right? And so I was gonna go over to this one chair that was kind of away from everybody, so that I could prop my leg up, right? Because I don't want to intercede and be like, hey, move out of that chair. I need that for my foot. No, I'm not an ass. So I was over here, and they go, what are you doing? And I said, I just need to put my leg up. And they're, like, moving furniture around so that I can put my leg up. That's what I'm saying. Like, the people, it shows you the compassion and caring of people. And I mean, yes, I would do the same thing, right? I would hopefully do the same thing for other people. It's just so cool. It's so cool to see, and I enjoy it so much. And I hope you do too. I hope you enjoy whiskey to that level, to where you can sit down with people, have a drink, have a story, cry a little bit, yell, scream, be like, this is shit, whatever. Doesn't matter. Now, angry whiskey is a thing, right? If old Popcorn Sutton didn't tell us anything, there's loving liquor, there's fighting liquor, and there's sleeping liquor. Don't do the fighting liquor, okay? That's that. If you get a PSA out of anything today, we know that whiskey's a catalyst for things, and if you're already angry, drinking whiskey ain't gonna make it go away, okay? So what you need to do is maybe chill. Take a chill pill first. I mean, not an actual chill pill. Don't be taking Xanax and drinking whiskey. That's not good either. I'm not a medical doctor, and this is not medical advice, but that is not a good combo. Anyway, or Vicodin or whatever. Don't be mixing drugs, right? Because whiskey is a drug. I'm just going to say it right now. But addiction to anything is bad. We know this. I'm not going to talk to you about that anymore. But the whiskey community, the whiskey people, the whiskey glass, what's in the glass, the story behind it, the hands that made it, all of that is a story. All of that is the main reason that I am here talking to you at all. Other than the fact that I love the whiskey that much that, yeah. And I'm not, did I name a whiskey? I said I love the whiskey. I don't care for Abasolo. It's a Mexican corn whiskey. Not good. It's not good. Okay? I'll say it right now. I don't care. I'm not sponsored by Abasolo. But I'm saying I do it for the love of the whiskey. And not just the liquid in the glass. For the whiskey, the voice of whiskey, because it doesn't have a voice. And I know you're probably thinking, dude, you're going way off on this. Like, you are way in the weeds on this. Like, whiskey's not alive. I said, but the story is. The community is. The lifestyle, it's not a lifestyle. It kind of is a lifestyle. People look at you weird when you have a couple bottles of whiskey at the house, don't they? If you have more than 3 bottles of whiskey at the house, I guarantee you somebody is judging you. But there are people that I know very, very well that have hundreds of bottles of wine and nobody says anything. But you have 5 bottles of whiskey and they're like, oh, you're a freaking alcoholic. Why is that? Because everybody connotates whiskey to getting drunk, taking shots, all of that. They think of wine as sophisticated. And that was kind of the tongue-in-cheek thing that we did with that was done with the sommelier program for whiskey. It's very tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, it's very serious. We're serious about the whiskey, but we're not serious about the whiskey at the same time. Does that make sense? It's unpretentious. We're like, yes, this is an amazing whiskey. These are the hands that made it. This is the farm that grew it. This is the yeast that was used. This is all of the things. This is the story behind it. This is the ghost story behind it like we had. Like all of those things go into making that whiskey. And that's what we're here as, not just me, but all of us. If you find a bottle that you love and you're like, dude, somebody needs to know this. I've talked till I'm blue in the face about, sending shampoo. Send shampoo to people. No, oh my God, I still can't say it. Samples, sending samples and doing reviews. And you don't have to tell anybody the review, right? Review a whiskey. Like, I do not care for Glenfarclas 12. It's a Scotch whiskey. I don't care for it. It's not horrible, but when we did our blending, what is one of the whiskeys in there? Glenfarclas 12. And we made it good. Me and my partner, we made it good. I don't know how, but we did. And not to toot our horn or anything, but me and my partner, I don't want to say I because then that takes possession of it. My partner and I got second place in the blending. We got one of the numbers of the blend off, just a tad. But I was told by the instructor and by the instructor that it is excellent. I'll live with second place and excellent, bro. I'll live with that all day long. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I've been talking for a minute. And the iPad died, so we're not going to have outro music or anything like that, which, I'm very sorry about. But, anyway. So, what do you need to do? You need to follow, like, subscribe everywhere, which I'm sure you're already doing, right? You're already doing that. Comment, share everything, right? Share this podcast with somebody that needs to hear it. Hear about the whiskey community, right? And also, leave a review. Leave a review. 5 stars, please. I'm not, don't be a 1 star, right? 5 stars. And I'm going to do a little thing where if you leave a 5-star review, I will talk about it on the show. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that. So I need some. I've got a couple, but they're old. So if you have a review, or if you want to review, please, I'll do them on the show. Anyway, until next time, be good. Be a good person, right? The whiskey is out there. It's doing its thing. You do your thing. Be good. And, whiskey is happening around you. Are you going to join in? Or are you going to get left behind? Because we're going big places. All right? So, I'm just happy to be here, guys. I really am. Until next time, you know what to do. Keep your spirits up. Peace out.